Hello and welcome to Bouldersaurus. After a pretty rough last set, I'm happy to say that I was able to climb every problem on the new set. How? By either trying again and again until I made it, or breaking the beta. I have 10 climbs for you this time around, so grab your granola bar and seltzer water, because it's time to get climbing. Before we talk about the first climb, I want to note that in the bottom right corner, I'll be adding another piece of information, the mat grade. This is just a measure of how the climb felt to me to give a bit more context about these problems. So while this first problem was graded a V9, I may have found an easier way to do it, so it felt closer to a V8 for me. Speaking of this easier way, you'll see my first attempt at it in just a moment. You're supposed to go up to that long hold above called a tufa, first, but I kick my foot out left and turn a difficult match into more of a pressing move. On this attempt, I learned I need to get further over before I match the tufa. Here, I wasn't confident in my left foot placement, didn't press on it enough, and my poor right foot couldn't get high enough. I made a bit of a breakthrough on this attempt, and learned that if I bumped my left hand up to the top of the hold, I could get a better grip on it. If it looks like I'm struggling, I am. There's a tremendous amount of body tension required to hold this position. With all the beta worked out, all that was left to do was put it together. If the start of this climb looks easy, it's not. Those bubbly holds are awful and only have a slight ridge to grip on. They're also super easy to slip off of. I got my left foot perfectly placed this time and started to press up into the corner. My left hand scooted up, and with the last minute shift of my right foot, I was able to press into the final moves of this climb. Luckily, this last part was easier than the rest of the climb, and it's just a matter of maintaining the body tension to reach that final finish hold. This one felt good to do. What you didn't see in the last climb was the work required to figure out that little beta break. This climb, however, I broke the beta right away. Here you can see me making some attempts at the intended beta, just to make sure I could do it, which is a coordination dyno. I do like coordination moves, but this one wasn't really one of them. Ever since I had a shoulder injury, I'm always a bit hesitant on these sorts of moves. I was able to finally get this move eventually, but unfortunately I didn't get it on film. You have to jump up to this pinch, rock back and forth to gain momentum, jump on this hold on the volume, and then catch another pinch. These sorts of moves require a lot of commitment, and unfortunately that pink volume really messes with me. I always think I'm gonna smack my face on it. Anyway, how did I break the beta? Well, when in doubt, grab a foothold. I will note now, I accidentally told the head root setter about this cheat, and that foothold is now much smaller and near impossible to grab, so sorry everybody. Honestly, the start of the climb looks flashy, but it's not the hard part for me, even when done properly. The pinches at the end are really hard for me to hold. It looks like no big deal, but trust me, I am struggling through this end section. The crux for me is this big move outright, where I cut feet and have to land on the start hold. The move to the finish isn't easy either. I just barely am able to hold on. I don't understand you people who like pinches. In the last two examples, I showed how I got creative with my beta to conquer the climbs, but in this next example, I will show you how persistence can also help you succeed in a climb. I highlighted this climb this week on my Boulder Bite series, and I know you might be thinking, no way that's a V7, it looked like a piece of cake. Inflated gym grades aside, I feel like adding some context will help justify this grade. The crux of this climb is a drive-by dyno where you must reach past your center of gravity and over-rotate your body to make use of a pinch hold. The end of this climb consists of moving through two very slopey pinches, and then making a tough move up to this final good pinch. So now, let's add some context in the form of my failed attempts to get to this final product. Most folks who I saw attempt this climb could not navigate past the first move. A lot of tension is required to hold this toe hook and release it in a controlled way. The two crimps I'm holding onto are oddly shaped and are more of a thin, flat pinch. Let's see if you can find the error I was making when I was first attempting this drive-by dyno. If you said, not rotating enough, you are correct. I kept trying to stop my spin when I got a hand on the hold, but what I needed to do was fully rotate myself around to make the best use of it. Also, here's a quick little dry fire off the top.
Oh, what the hell?
What the hell indeed. Or, more precisely, where the hell? As in, where the hell has this next boulder been my entire life? Now, you know I get excited when I get to press into corners, but look at this climb. 1, 2, 3 corners to press into, and a press-up move. I love this climb so much. It starts with some easy moves up slopers and crimps and has a big move into these blocked holds. The blockers here honestly don't really provide much of a challenge. I'm waiting for my gym to fully commit to blocking holds where you can barely get your fingers into it. That's my favorite. The crux of this problem is pressing into this sloper and transitioning past it. This is where I saw so many climbers get mixed up. Pressing like this isn't a common move in climbing, so unless you're prepared for it, it's really hard to get your body to do what you want it to. From here, there's a shouldery transition to the final hold, which is slopey. So notice how I sink very low on it to get as much contact as possible. This was a great climb. Okay, it's time to play Guess the Intended Hand Sequence. This next climb had an interesting trick to it, and I'm curious to see your thoughts. Oh my god, I put thighs. I wrote thighs instead of thoughts. If you were to climb this, what hand would you put on the circled hold? Pause it for a little bit if you need to. Alright, time's up. The reason I did this is because I got bamboozled the first time I did this climb and went left hand to that hold, not thinking ahead. If you go left hand, you have to do a difficult match on a small hold. Instead, I match the rightmost hold and then go right hand, which sets me up for the next move. Even though this climb was easy, I do appreciate that it punished me on my first go for not paying attention and reading ahead. I absolutely loved this next climb. Most of the cool climbs in the gym are found in the higher grades, but this is a prime example on how to make an easy, accessible climb that's low in grade. The holds are big and interesting, the movement is fun and flashy, and it requires thinking and technique. I felt that this was one of the best climbs of the set and give a big shout out to the route setters for setting a cool, easy climb. It was so much fun, I saw how many holds I could eliminate and came up with this more challenging variant, cutting off all the holds on the right side. Oh my goodness, so many cool climbs to show! Just a note, this climb has been changed since recording to make it more difficult. Don't get me wrong, this climb is a prime example of something that's harder than it looks, but the setters made it even more challenging, which I'm super excited about. I saw a lot of climbers not even be able to start this climb as a testament to how finicky and bouncy it is. Notice I get a high foot and rock over it, which is like one of my climbing superpowers, and these next two crimps were actually the ones that are changed to much worse crimps. Footholds were removed here to make this part even more sketchy. Speaking of sketchy, this move to the opposite corner is terrifying. The hands are bad, the feet are bad, it is a sketchy move. But, interestingly enough, the crux of this climb is matching the last hold. There is nothing on that hold to grab, so I wrap my hand around the top and bring my other hand in for the match. Take my word for it, it is so hard to make this match work. The first time I climbed this purple V5, I wasn't a big fan since it seemed like there were too many options. Upon climbing it again to record it, I came to appreciate these options. This climb had little helper crimps to be used as bumps to get to the better block holds. If you have the reach, you can skip them, but I prefer to use them, as you'll see right here. Bump. I really liked this back flag and toe hook combination to move to this next hold, before there's another bump on the left hand to this block. Once you get here, the rest of the climb is easy. It's just some moves through a few crimps on good feet to the finish hold. I really like filming on the slab and in this back corner since they have the most natural light. I'm filming on a pretty old cell phone, so it's nice to have some good light. I don't know what it was about this climb, but it gave a lot of climbers some trouble. I think it's the fact that it looked easy at a glance, but secretly it's designed to make you barn door at multiple points. If you're not ready for it, it can really toss you off the wall. The climb starts in this awkward position before moving to this left undercling into a large right cross. I will say, crimping an undercling and doing a large cross to another crimp is probably my favorite thing in the world, aside from squishing into a corner. The hard part is reaching up to the third pink volume since your hands and feet are all in the same line, leaving you in an unbalanced position. The crimps at the top of this climb are good, but with no feet outright, you have to rely on crimp strength. The finish hold is easy peasy and a fun match. I think this is my longest video yet, but I felt bad leaving out any climbs. So we'll finish with this blue V5 that uses the side of the wall as a hold. This is called the Iget. However, me and a few friends discovered that climbing it without using the Iget is a fun variant, so if you climb at the gym, try it out. Thank you for watching. Your support keeps me motivated to continue putting these videos together, and I always love all of your comments. No reset next week, so I might put out something different, maybe go to a different gym, so stay tuned and keep being awesome. Bye bye.